3 true trending horror stories. Number 1. Human remains found near Tesco in Bournemouth. Behind the checkout lines and busy parking lots of a Bournemouth Tesco, someone was dead. Hidden in an abandoned caravan, surrounded by overgrowth, a decomposed body was found unidentified, silent, and far too close to everyday life. How long had they been there? Who were they? This isn't just a discovery, it's a mystery buried in plain sight. Until someone speaks up, this body has no name. What began as an ordinary day for shoppers in Bournemouth turned dark on April the 26th, 2025, when police were called to a wooded area behind a Tesco on Castle Lane. Hidden behind overgrown trees and brush, a decaying caravan sat silently, its windows broken, its door half open. Inside or nearby, human remains were discovered, badly decomposed and partially obscured by foliage and debris. Locals had reportedly seen the caravan weeks earlier but dismissed it as abandoned or used by squatters. Now, it's the epicenter of an ongoing murder investigation. The body's advanced state of decay has made identification difficult, and investigators have yet to release information about gender, age, or cause of death. The caravan was removed for forensic analysis, and residents are left shaken, wondering how long a body was left to rot in the shadow of one of the busiest shopping hubs in town. The eerie contrast between everyday life and unspeakable death, between aisles of groceries and a hidden grave, has gripped the UK, reminding everyone that evil often hides in plain sight. The caravan had been parked behind the Tesco on Castle Lane for weeks, maybe longer. Locals thought little of it, just another relic of transience in a forgotten patch of trees. But what lay inside was not neglect, it was death. Hidden among the moss-covered cushions and rotting wood were human remains, so decomposed that officers couldn't immediately determine whether they belonged to a man or woman. The scene was eerily quiet. Forensics teams worked for hours under tarps and floodlights, cataloguing every piece of the decaying puzzle. Authorities quickly labeled the death non-recent, which only deepened the mystery. How had no one smelled it? Why had no one noticed? The answer may lie in the caravan's location, tucked just far enough from footpaths to be invisible, just close enough to civilization to feel horrifyingly intimate. Detectives are exploring missing person cases from as far back as 2020. The victim may have been homeless, a migrant, or someone who lived under the radar, unnoticed, undocumented, and now nearly unidentifiable. With no wallet, no phone, and no fingerprints left to lift, identification may rely solely on dental records or DNA. What haunts the community is the thought that they passed by that body dozens of times, never knowing someone was dying or already dead, just feet away. Parents walk their kids to the Tesco. Couples jog past that tree line. Now, they stop and stare, imagining how long this secret festered in silence. And so the question remains, was this a quiet tragedy of exposure and neglect, or the final resting place chosen by someone who wanted this person never to be found? Number 2. 2 bodies discovered in Leeds. Flat police entered the flat on Dawlish Road looking for a missing woman. What they found was far worse. 2 bodies, 1 man, 1 woman, side by side in a quiet, locked apartment. No signs of a break-in, no signs of struggle, just silence and death. Leeds is now asking, was this a suicide pact or something far more sinister? In a quiet neighborhood on Dawlish Road in Leeds, police responding to a missing persons report made a discovery that horrified the community. On May 29, 2025, inside a modest flat, officers found the bodies of a man and woman under unexplained and deeply suspicious circumstances. The woman had recently been reported missing by family members who hadn't heard from her in days. But no one expected police to find 2 bodies, side by side, behind locked doors. The flat showed no immediate signs of forced entry or visible violence, fueling speculation that this was either a tragic suicide pact or something more sinister, like murder-suicide or poisoning. Neighbors described the flat's tenants as quiet, unremarkable. No loud arguments, no disturbances, just silence. Now, the investigation is ongoing, with forensics combing the property and interviews underway. Leeds residents are left wondering what went on behind those walls and how long was it hidden. When police knocked on the door of the Dawlish Road flat, they were following up on a missing persons report routine. At first, the woman hadn't answered calls. She hadn't shown up for work. No one had seen her for days. What officers found inside was far from routine. 2 lifeless bodies, side by side in the same room, in an apartment that smelled of still air and sorrow. The flat showed no signs of violence. No overturned furniture, no blood, no broken windows, just the quiet aftermath of something no one yet understands. Forensics teams believe the deaths may have occurred days before discovery. The front door was locked from the inside. No neighbors reported hearing screams or seeing anything unusual. It's as though death simply arrived and settled in without struggle. Theories emerged quickly: a suicide pact, a double overdose, or worse, a planned murder-suicide. Toxicology reports are pending, but the autopsies have not confirmed or denied any of those possibilities. The flat was tidy, clothes folded, food in the fridge, bills unopened on the table, as if life had been paused in an instant, permanently. What haunts people most is how easily this could have been missed. If no one had reported the woman missing, if no welfare check had been done, the bodies might have lain there far longer. In a city as dense as Leeds, 2 people can vanish behind a single door and not a soul notices until it's far too late. Whatever the final cause, one thing is clear: behind those walls, something happened that no one outside can yet explain. And now the apartment is empty again, but the echoes of what happened inside it will linger long after the furniture is gone. Number 3. Woman dies in skydiving accident in County Durham. She was experienced. It was supposed to be a clean, beautiful jump over County Durham, but her parachute failed. And within seconds, the sky turned into a silent grave. Now, a grieving family, a closed skydiving center, and one terrifying question remain. What went wrong? On April 27, 2025, a thrilling adventure turned to horror at Reford's Farm Skydiving Centre in County Durham. A woman in her 30s and experienced jumper, according to staff, died during what should have been a routine skydive. Witnesses say her parachute deployed incorrectly and she plummeted uncontrollably, landing just beyond the designated drop zone. Emergency services arrived quickly, but it was too late. The woman was pronounced dead at the scene, her body shielded from view by shocked bystanders. The tragic incident is being treated as an accident, not suspicious, though a formal investigation into the equipment and flight plan is underway. The company has temporarily suspended operations. The horror of the moment and the abruptness of it has sparked widespread discussion about skydiving safety regulations. Those who witnessed the event have spoken of the chilling silence that followed the impact, and the trauma of watching a life vanish in seconds, with no warning, no second chance. The skies over County Durham were clear on the morning of April 27, 2025. It was a perfect day for jumping light wind, good visibility. Dozens of people gathered at Reford's Farm Skydiving Centre to either take their turn or cheer on others from below. Among them was a woman in her early 30s, a returning jumper with multiple jumps under her belt. This should have been just another leap. It became her last. According to witnesses, everything seemed normal until it wasn't. Her parachute deployed, but something went wrong. The lines twisted, the canopy only partially opened. She struggled to correct the descent, but her spin intensified. She was losing altitude fast. Then, silent sound impact. The crowd froze. Staff rushed toward the landing zone, but she was already gone. What followed was chaos. Emergency responders arrived quickly, and the site was cordoned off. Initial reports described the parachute malfunction as catastrophic. Though the equipment is now being examined, skydiving experts say even the slightest mispacking error or gear fatigue can turn a controlled descent into a fatal drop. The skydiving center has temporarily shut down, pending investigation. The woman's name has not been released to the public, but her death has shaken the close-knit skydiving community across the UK. Friends and instructors described her as brave, disciplined, and passionate about flight. Now her life is being reduced to logbooks, footage reviews, and post-mortem reports. The tragedy has reignited debate about the safety of recreational skydiving. Should inspections be more rigorous? Should the maximum use of older parachutes be reduced? But the most haunting question lingers in silence. Was this truly an accident or the result of human error that could and should have been prevented? 3 very different stories. One found in a decaying caravan, discarded like trash behind a supermarket. Another discovered behind a locked door, 2 lives gone in absolute silence. And a third that ended not with a scream but a fall from the sky. In each case, the questions outweigh the answers. Who were they, really? What happened in those final moments? And why, even in a world full of cameras, texts, and check-ins, can people still disappear, die, and be forgotten without warning, without justice? Whether it's violence, tragedy, or neglect of these stories leave behind the same heavy truth. Not all horror wears a mask. Some of it looks ordinary. Some of it hides in plain sight. And some of it is still out there. This has been The Unanswered. If you know something, say something. And if you don't remember these names, because the worst thing we can do for the deader is stop talking about them.